This will be my review of YouTube's copyright strike policy. And here is the issue. Here is Lance Kugler going on and on about LASIK as a perfect solution. Get it up here.
Trying to figure out what the advertisements are. Unfortunately, due to the aging ways inside our eyes, everyone needs reading glasses or bifocals eventually. So for those of you keeping score at home, that means close to 100% of people will eventually need some sort of prosthetic device to see. Isn't it interesting that when someone has a challenge preventing them from walking 20 feet, we routinely, whenever possible, offer them a solution to their problem, such as a knee replacement, so that they don't have to rely on prosthetics. But for people who can't see 20 feet, we expect them to rely on prosthetics such as glasses indefinitely. And yet, we can fix myopia and hyperopia. In fact, we can reduce these defects on a massive scale. The first time in human history.
Okay, that is Lance Kugler. And Lance is a LASIK surgeon. So naturally, he's going to promote it. I have no problems with that. The problem is that YouTube gives me a copyright strike, which is a demerit on my channel. My channel is broad information, scientific information for the behavior of all fundamental eyes starting at birth, with the idea that prevention is possible when you're 2040. You can argue about it, but you should look at experimental data. Now, I wrote 2 books, one on sight, the other celestial navigation. So that's copyright covered. However, copyright is about money. And my judgment is this. Anytime I do Lance Kugler, I give you his location and the entire video. I'm critiquing the concept, and I give you the full book, the complete book for free in all cases. So money is not involved. I don't make money doing this, and I don't think Lance Kugler makes it on LASIK, I think. And telling people that LASIK is the only solution, and worst, it's economical. Because over a period of 30 years, the cost of contact lens is comparable, he says, and the risks of infection from contact lenses. He also doesn't understand that prevention is possible at 2040. So I really questioned YouTube's policy of copyright strike in this specific instance because I'm critiquing the whole concept of LASIK. You can get LASIK to bring you up to 2020. You go back to nose on page reading habit, and you go down to 2 or 3 diopters after LASIK. And then you have to get LASIK a second time if you want to. So that is the reason I critique Lance Kugler and all the assumptions he's making. And I don't think that's a copyright violation since I'm giving the whole entire book. Please go to Lance Kugler, read what he has to say, add commentary. I consider LASIK an emergency. And of course, it's not covered by any medical insurance. Cataract surgery is covered. You know, I express ideas, concepts, and you're free to ignore them and do whatever you want to do. I'm obviously not medical. The concept of the eyes being dynamic came to me as an engineer thinking that this control system had to have a source of a signal of control. And that, of course, is accommodation. If you're an engineer, you'd understand the arguments. And we should review the arguments. Did evolution design highly sophisticated system, control system, And what are the experimental data to verify this? Keeping medical people out of the argument, because ultimately they'll come in and tell you they're right and you're wrong and never look at any experimental data. That is what I object to. The copyright strike, apparently, if you get three copyright strikes, you're in serious trouble. So I really wish that YouTube would review their policy here, because if it's on the internet, it's public domain. And in the specific instance, to make a point about the risk of LASIK surgery that Lance Kugler does not mention or cover, that was the purpose of reviewing his TED Talks. And I really wish YouTube would review that policy. When I'm not making any money, Lance is not making any money except for selling LASIK surgery. And he doesn't give the complete story with all the demerits of LASIK. And that's his right. But I really object. I don't think I'm in a copyright violation when I review another man's video and it's on the internet also, and I haven't done a copyright violation. Copyright says you have free use for commentary. And I do give you commentary on Lance Kugler's statements because they need to be reviewed. If you just use standard minus lens, correcting nearsightedness with a minus lens is not expensive. In fact, I corrected myself for some time. So I would ask YouTube to either explain or remove that copyright strike, because I don't feel there's any copyright violation here. It's free use, open use commentary on Lance Kugler's misinformation, essentially wrong attitude towards myopia prevention and cataract surgery. I think it's a high risk, actually. And that's part of the commentary. I also believe that prevention is possible the way I'm doing it. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing it, but that's up to you. I do these videos for my immediate relatives, so if they became slightly negative, nearsighted, they would know how to prevent it. Knowing how to prevent it is doing what Rupa and Jeff Wong are doing it. They're keeping the kid's nose off the page in a very disciplined manner. And all I know of the eye's behavior is if you don't put the nose on the page, you keep your refraction state at plus a half diopter. Keep your 20/20. I use a direct method of Kepler, using trial lenses. They use something they call lens star, which makes accurate measurements. And that's how Rupa will keep her kids 20/20. But you have to wait 20 years because the eye goes down to half diopter per year if you don't do anything about it. So we won't know whether Rupa is successful until 20 years from now, when they graduate from college, grad school, PhD, whether they were successful or not successful. But since she's riding herd on her kids and they don't do any of this, their refractive state will remain positive. I've been doing prevention on myself now for 15 years and always verify using Kepler's technique that my refractive state is positive. Notice I read the 20/20 line, hope a plus a half diopter, still read the 20/20 line. That is a positive refractive state. If I did this, my refraction changed from plus to minus, and I'd be nearsighted again. So I'm doing protection for myself because I know I must do it. To the best of my knowledge, my relatives kept their nose off the page and kept their refraction positive. So they never had to deal with it. So the only person who gained from all my efforts was myself. That's quite an accomplishment, except you don't know what I'm doing and you don't believe me. In any event, I wish YouTube would remove copyright strike on my review of Lance Kugler's extreme advocacy for LASIK for everybody because it's cheaper. Add your own commentary, and thank you, YouTube. I wish you'd make a statement or about this because I'm doing all public domain, and you give me a copyright strike, and I give you the entire book to read every time I refer to the original when I talk about it. So go check what Lance Kugler said. It's all free. It's on the internet. There's no copyright violation. Add your own commentary. Thank you.